So we are here, present and accounted for, and I would like to call the meeting to order, the COA Advisory Board meeting. It is August 19th, 2025. It is 9:57, and I would like to call the meeting to order. We are being recorded by Area 58. So good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Happy to be here and to see everybody. It's been kind of a crazy time since I retired. I haven't had much retirement, but and I haven't really had much time to do all of this great stuff. But I am looking forward to moving forward. I know I feel like I've been saying that for months and months and months, but I think things are settling down, and I'm looking forward to really getting into the nitty-gritty and organizing all this stuff, and great. So
Back to life, back to reality.
Back to reality. So first on the agenda, and Darlene did the agenda for me because I got a new Mac and I can't figure out. But okay, so let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And Darlene, are you all set, Judy?
Yeah.
Are you're taking minutes?
Yep. Maybe review the 17th, the June 17th.
Yep, so if we, the June 17th, right.
Yeah, we just want to make sure those are okay
Yep.
with the updates on them.
So I was not here, so I will not be voting on the June minutes. Has everybody had a chance to read the June
Yep.
17th minutes? So I can make a motion to approve those minutes.
Second that motion.
So all those, well, we should take a roll call because I'll be abstaining, or all those in favor? Pat?
Yes. Aye.
Aye.
And
Yes.
Fred? Okay. And Diane is not here at the moment. She'll be right back. Okay, so now we'll go to the, so those were approved, but I abstained. And now we'll go to the July 15th meeting. When you say, Darlene, transportation reimbursement is part of the GATRA program, you mean when people pay for rides? Or is transportation reimbursement something that the state gives you, or is
It's
that?
the federal government, it's a federal
Okay,
plan.
so that's not, like when people pay for rides, that goes into the GATRA account?
No. So the GATRA is the reimbursement from the program, the GATRA program, which is a federal program.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to submit a number of paperwork, or a series of paperwork, I should say, to show what we've spent for the month. So it's monthly, and it includes the transportation, includes what we get from reimbursement. We subtract that, actually, what we get from reimbursement.
Oh,
So say
okay.
if I collect $100 for the month.
From
just example.
patrons.
Yeah, so I would subtract that from the whole cost of this whole transportation.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Oh, okay.
again, yeah, so that's what.
So where does the money that people pay you go?
That goes into the revolving account.
Revolving account,
Yep.
okay,
Our
thank you.
transportation revolving, yep.
Yep. And when you say age-friendly community boom is here and Halifax is far behind, do you mean we have far behind in population from what other rural communities?
No, what that actually means is in the terms of providing services in terms of the what we have for a community room,
Okay.
where we're going. We still haven't reached that goal yet of having a facility where we can all utilize it in one spot. So many of the communities either upgraded their senior center or they actually rebuild, and then they coordinated with other, the library or the rec department and so on. So what we're seeing is that the state is asking us to become more age-friendly, what we can do as directors to encourage that. So it's been a challenge for us because we don't have that same resources that everyone else may have had, or even a small, some of the places have built, and it took a long time for some of these towns to build a new community center. So we'll get there, it's just that we're trying to play catch up. The good thing is, though, from this, is that we are still providing favorable services for our community. In fact, that's what takes me away from a lot of the activities that I'm supposed to be doing. In terms of health and human services, we are finding there's an uptick in a lot of the Mass Health application process. There are people out there that are needing services. We were supposed to have somebody trained as a Shine counselor, but we had to change that direction for now. Not that Shine is Mass Health, but they are Medicare driven and trained. So, but even those types of questions, people are turning 65, they still want to sign up and they still want to understand what direction they need to choose from, because even if they go, even if it's self-directed and you can go on the Medicare.gov site, they still need some help with that. So I've been kind of stepping in because that's what we do, right? To support other programs out there. So Middleborough, we're hoping that we get someone, but right now, we were supposed to have someone come, and Middleborough decided to keep her. So I'm like, well.
Is that a volunteer position?
Yes,
Shine?
most of it, not all, depending on the center. So say they ask the outreach coordinator or even the director to become Shine counselor. I was doing it for a long time anyway. I was doing it for 10 years actually. And then prior to that, I was in the healthcare industry anyway. So I stepped on board as a volunteer just because I saw that people were out there floundering with the Medicare. So I did that back in 2000, and then I stuck with it all those years later. And you know, over the time, they started to realize that Mass Health took on its own entity after the ACA, the Affordable Care Act. And so therefore, it was going to require more time for a volunteer to put into understanding and screening for connector, to screen for somebody that's over 65 and that type of thing. So it's a really mismatch of a lot of different entities. And unfortunately, if you're required to take Medicare, the federal government is required to provide a counselor to help you navigate, period. And not all towns have a navigator or a Shine counselor. And if the outreach or the director takes on that responsibility, it's a commitment. You are required to attend meetings. You are required to report. It's a very lengthy report because we would have to fill out a state report, a federal report. Why? And then submit it back to the regional office, which is Middleborough. They then submit that over to the state Executive Office of Aging and Independence, and then they get funded by the ACL, the federal government, and all those you know, entities up there. That's how they get their money to offer this service. But again, if you have an outreach person that's programs, outreach, all these different things, to take on that responsibility, it can be overwhelming at times. So
how do most COAs deal with?
They actually have a person that would be an outreach usually. That way when they screen for SNAP programs or they're doing the applications for fuel assistance SNAP, you recognize that a person is in an income bracket that potentially could qualify for the Medicare Savings Plan or even just Mass Health. You would then recommend or suggest that they apply.
So most COAs have like the outreach.
Some do.
Yeah.
Some opted out of it. There are some centers that opted out of the whole Shine program because of the fact they felt like there was other options out there for them. Because of course, you know, we were to actually Barbara was going to do the Shine. That whole direction changed a bit, which is fine. Now moving forward, it's like, okay, do I go back to Shining again? Yeah, it's going to take a lot more time. But we're in a position that we're short-staffed anyway. So therefore, for me to take on and, you know, go that direction, which I do, I like that That's what I'd like to do, and I understand Mass House very well. And I couldn't let someone flounder, so I would just step in it anyway. But I'm not filling out the reports to report back to the state or report back to the federal government that I put in 2 hours of my time to
Right.
provide it towards this person that needed help with their Mass Health application. So, so that's what the SHINE program, I mean, it's a great program. Unfortunately, I wish at one point they said it was 60% volunteer. And when you have a volunteer, people go away on vacation. People are doing it as a volunteer. So we have to
They're
have,
also not as committed.
Right.
If they don't feel like it and they had a job, they would go to work. But if they get up and they just don't feel like it, they don't volunteer.
when something's like that important in navigating, that's why I get calls from other towns, because they may not have a resource there.
Yeah.
And I get the call and they're like, I can help you, but I'll just tell you where you need to go, and then I can't continue to help. But, you know, supporting the consumer is the most important thing. And even the most educated person, we have people on there that have actually been in the computer-driven world forever, and they look at all these choices and they're like, I'm confused. I'm not, because you feel like you have to, it's permanent. And your longevity-wise, after you retire, it's like, well, I have enough money to support all this. You know, what is the best option? And I always just say, look at the moment for now. Look at what your health over the long term, like the last 3 years. Sure, it can change, but you know, you have to go with your philosophy too. You know, if a person they want to pay a fixed fee every month, no matter what happens, they could have a healthy year, but pay that $500 a month or whatever it's going to be for them, but they just, for them, it's their comfort level. Some people said, you know what, I'll take the risk, take the cheaper plan, and just sock some money away. So the things is giving people options and helping them navigate. The SHINE program, I reached out to the SHINE director and several times. She is now left. So now there's another person that's new. And now what we're finding is that she decided to keep the person that I thought we were going to get. She called us and said, hey, I'm going to be coming to Halifax. I used to work for Social Security.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I'm like, perfect. So I was so excited about it, and then I learned I was waiting 2 months, and I said, hey, when's this person coming? So I come to find out that they decided to keep her, but nobody called.
There you go.
And they said, well, no, you can't do that. You got to send somebody because, you know, so, you know, recruiting, that's what we ask, you know, for volunteers. When we ask for volunteers to come on, there's options. We provide that as a volunteer option right now.
But
and
doesn't
it's
seem like that's the
rewarding.
best. I'm sure it is.
It's
but
rewarding because everybody
yeah.
wants to know how to, you know, especially at retirement, right? Everybody wants to know that. So they feed that information at the state level, all this wonderful stuff, and yet, you know, it hurts the centers because the consumer is at a volunteer situation and the commitment is pretty significant. And so it's a challenge for a lot of centers. And most of the outreach, there are a few centers that do have the directors doing it. And some of the directors feel like that is a lot for them to take on too. So, but you know what, to me it's secondhand, you know, second nature for myself because of my background. But I like it and I want to make sure it's done in a way that's respectable for the individual. The only problem is, I'm talking to my state reps, hoping that we can get this resolved, is that they have, SHINE councils have exclusive information about Medicare or something like that. I think we should have access to that. If there's overabundance of people coming to us and asking us and they can't get appointments with SHINE councils, we should have access to that same information. Right. So I could say to that person, because I can explain it, and I can say to them, this is the choices, this is what this means, and then be able to give them that sheet of paper. And so people are coming in and they're saying, well, I did meet with the SHINE counselor and they wouldn't give me a piece of paper that explains certain, you know, programs and stuff. And I just think it's silly. you know, and I just feel like it's not being transparent to the public, and when, especially now when they're turning that Medicare age, or even being on Medicare, and then come October, they have to make some choices, whether or not they want to stay on a Medicare Advantage plan, because their health changed, maybe they need to go with the Medigap plan, because the Medigap plan will give them flexibility. So, and also to a lot of people out there, they don't realize they qualify for a Mass Health program. So, and that's kind of sad, you know, because I feel like that's always a great option for them to, you know, they should be screened for that, and sometimes they missed out. So it's a little bit muffled. I think the whole system is muffled, and there's not enough volunteers as there is, but then to ask someone to be that committed to a SHINE program for Medicare is a lot. So typically, you know, I hope it's going to change, and I'm going to try to see if we can work on that.
Okay.
Do you find that most people get mixed up between the Medicare Advantage plan and the federal Medicare plan?
The federal Medicare plan is totally different animal. Yes. Yeah, they
Yeah.
can. Yes, we had a situation where the counselor actually took the consumer off a Medicare federal prescription drug plan because the prescription was much higher on that plan. But when you did that, a federal program, any federal employee should stay on the federal, you know,
Definitely,
plan. Yeah,
in some
do not
states,
veer
but
from it. In some states, of course, not in all states, because every state is going to be different in terms of what they do offer too. I mean, federal program is Medicare for all, even in Guam. Okay,
Right.
so it's all those areas you have access to Medicare. What you choose for Medicare Advantage plans is going to vary from state to state, with the exception of national HMOs or PPOs like Blue Cross Blue Shield or United Healthcare. Those are more, they identify themselves as national. So these are the little tidbits of stuff that a SHINE counselor would learn, and then, you know, the average person looking at the screen may not see that, you know. So you want to kind of guide them to choices and let them make the choice, but, you know, yeah. But yeah, there is a difference between Medicare and
big
federal.
difference, yeah.
Well, I mean, in terms of the federal programs that they do offer, the benefits.
See, I used to bill for the hospital, and Medicare was my program to bill Medicare and Blue Cross, so.
Yeah, I mean, if I understand your question correctly, it's like the federal benefits for an employee or retired employee are rich, you know, and Medicare is still, Medicare is Medicare. Okay, no matter, it's a traditional Medicare, no matter how, if you're a federal employee. But if a person doesn't have to take the Part B, it's going to be different. You know, it's a lot to it. There's a lot of pieces.
So, having said that.
Yeah, so there is a difference.
Okay.
But they
In
do
that-
know
yeah.
that if they don't take Part B, Part D,
Part D either, right. Part B
they
or
could be in
D.
trouble, because I know somebody
Yeah, they'll
was
get
being
fined.
Yeah.
penalized, yep.
They will.
Oh, yeah, they do penalize you no matter.
Not with T,
yes.
but with B they
But-
will.
Right, but then if you're a federal employee, so we're getting mixed up a little. So federal employee will have access because they don't pay
Right.
into Social Security.
Right.
Because I did
and they
have
don't
and I
pay into
didn't
them.
have.
Right,
So could we approve these minutes?
We can approve the minutes. She asked the question. I have to
Okay.
answer it. I have to answer all questions
You do.
in detail.
Okay, so I'm going to make a motion
Okay, make a motion
to
to accept.
approve the July 15th
Okay. And you can,
minutes.
I second that motion.
thank you, Jean.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Passes
We should have a
unanimously.
class on that. I think we should have a class.
We should have a class, we should have a class because that is a lot of information.
A lot of good information.
It is, really.
And I
So,
keep on walking away with
so director's report, budget and program updates.
All right, hold on one sec. So, except July. So, the budget itself, it's pretty status quo. I will send that along to you, okay? Because I have to print that too. It's a lot of paper.
So, yeah, so you can just send, I think, send that along, and in the future, you can just send the budget along. I think the board, well, we should be informed and understand what's going on in the budget. I think we really only need to discuss the budget if there's a problem with it.
Okay.
You know, if you're, and that would be up, like, to you, like, you know, oh, I'm seeing this with my budget, and then maybe ask our opinions or ask for our help. But as far as the budget, like, that's really you understand the budget, we know you understand the budget, so you can just keep us, like, send it along, and if we have a question, we can ask about it.
Yeah, because it's revolving in terms of the transportation and everything we collect.
Right.
Transportation, you know, that type of thing goes right into the account. We do get reimbursed when we have a separate account for the SCATRA reimbursement, and my thing is,
So that, your GATRA, that has to be a town account, though? Like,
yes.
it goes into another revolving fund, basically?
I don't know if it's revolving. All I know is there has been that we've actually established an account, a town account.
A town account?
Yeah, the only
And
thing-
what can you spend that money on?
I don't know.
Okay, okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
All I do know is.
Vacation to Hawaii.
Yeah, yeah.
It doesn't belong to the
So obviously
COA.
it doesn't revolve then, right?
I don't think it's not revolving. She said it was revolving,
Oh, okay.
so I didn't
Yeah.
say it was revolving.
Yeah, no.
But it's a town account, it gets reimbursed for the transportation, for the insurance on the vehicles and so on. My thing is, I have a question, because they did set up, when they set up the GATRA account, they set up for reimbursement, collection, and then for expenses. But we just had the van cleaned, one of the vans cleaned, we should have them cleaned often, yearly. But that expense came out of the revolving account, so I gotta ask what that expense account is.
Maybe that
in
could have
GATRA.
come out of GATRA instead of, you know,
Yeah.
spending your revolving fund money on
But
that.
here's the deal, what I do submit is that bill. So I submit the bill to get reimbursed. So I don't think that I did.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
know if you even need
So
an
you get the
expense
bill,
account.
you pay
Maybe
for
the
it out
town
of some
has expense
account.
That's my thing. So maybe the town, so I won't assume, but that's a question I need to find out. So they established an expense, so it's just exclusive for the town to spend it. Say they have to pay back the state or something, or out of this account for,
So, but you had the van
that's
cleaned,
a town thing.
and you got the bill, you got the invoice.
Yep.
Did you pay for that invoice and then look for reimbursement?
Yep,
Or
I
did you
submit all
just?
the receipts, so I.
Okay, so how did you pay for that
That
bill?
comes out of the transportation account, the revolving
Okay.
account. But
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 then
it
you're
goes
thinking
back
it goes back into GATRA?
it gets reimbursed to GATRA. Yeah,
Oh,
that's where it
okay.
goes, yeah. So anything that we do, like maintenance on the vehicles,
You pay for it and then you get reimbursed to the GATRA, but
Correct.
you don't know what you can spend that on or
no, I
if you
can't,
can.
because it's town funding. It's
Ah.
it's not a COA.
So you're paying for something out of your budget and then the town's getting reimbursed, but it's not giving you kind of the money for it.
But isn't it getting reimbursed back to you, darling?
No, it's getting reimbursed to a
The
GATRA
town.
fund. Yeah,
No,
a
to a
GATRA
town,
account.
a town
Right, so it's coming out of your
Yeah.
budget originally and getting reimbursed to a town fund.
But the town puts
So
out
that's-
the money for it anyway, so here's, when you are allowed for MBTA or for the commuter rail to enter your town, and the state or the federal government, I don't know, I think it's the state, reimburses them so many dollars, you know, they get, every town gets, or city gets reimbursed. So, and this is questions for a selectman or somebody like that to ask, or a town administrator, to ask, well, how is it that we gave them the 60,000 that we get as, you know, for this, to have the commuter rail come in, and then we get that money back plus then some? Because already we've been reimbursed over over and above the $60,000.
Who's been reimbursed?
The town.
So, right, but that doesn't
It
have
gets back
really
into
to
the-
do, right, with the COA or GATRA or anything like that.
No, it doesn't, it's a GATRA account, the reimbursement that we get for all we do in our transportation.
Do you want me to close it?
Including the van, I know, it's always noisy. The van drivers' salaries and everything else is reimbursed back to the town. Because the town pays for the.
But that's what I'm saying, but it comes out of
salaries.
your, it comes out of COA budget and gets reimbursed into the town
Right.
thing, yeah.
But any cost for transportation, we have to look at it as GATRA reimbursement.
Right, but it comes out of your budget, that's
For that-
approved at
for
town
that,
meeting,
yeah.
right.
So,
So when you do your budget, you say, well, I need this much, like, for transportation, blah, blah, and you spend that.
for just
And
salaries,
then,
yeah.
yeah. But then, when you get reimbursed, it goes back to a town account and not a COA account.
Yeah, the only thing that really comes that we get funded for, because itself, when I got here, it was self-sustaining, I've never seen it this way, but any monies that we did collect was in this revolving account, $30 into Boston, whatever it might be, that went right directly into the account, and it funded for when there was issues with the van. But if we had a big issue, we'd be in trouble. So then we would have to ask for town money at that point to reimburse for that. So having GATRA, I see it as a favorable proposition for the town and not so much for the COA.
Right,
But,
exactly,
yeah.
for the town, oh,
But,
absolutely, yeah.
But it's a savings for the town overall.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually, well, we're gonna need a van with the hydraulics or the systems in the back where, we can actually then pick stuff up.
Right,
in
and
the
then
wheelchair.
maybe that could come out of the, right, but you don't really have, yeah, I
And that's by
understand
then,
now.
we've already collected over, I don't know if I'm allowed to say, but.
No.
I don't know if I'm allowed to say on TV, but, I don't know, but it was a lot.
I think you can.
So it was a lot more than we actually got funded by the state to have the MBTA transportation. It's a very favorable proposition.
Oh, for the
us.
town, yeah, no, I just wanted to understand the monies.
And there's a lot of things, and not all towns sign the same contract either. So that's from what
Oh,
I
really?
understand, yeah. Some of them have, that's why some of them have a GATRA bus, and that's kind of a cool thing too. Because I originally thought that's what we were gonna get, but we didn't, but anyway. So,
Okay.
what else are we saying here? Okay, so where are we?
Programs.
5.
Well, we're still kind of on 3.
Review
We
policy.
just went over the budget. So you had programs updates? We could just quickly touch on.
Yes, so, yep. So I actually, because I'm on the board for the housing, NeighborWorks Housing Solution is offering application public housing. So we get a lot of the flyers, and I try to get these out there. So I want to share it with even the town hall, the assessor's office here too, that if anybody wanted to, because it's open to all people. But they're having an educational center, a webinar on applying for public housing through the CHAMP applications. What's happened is, a lot of these programs are so important, SNAP program, housing applications and so on, fuel assistance, Mass Health, Medicare. So we are the front line of the community as a COA, the Council on Aging, or Senior Center. And a lot of people come to us to ask for this, to help them fill this, this information out, whether it be online or whatever. But it is so much of it. Training for a CHAMP application, to do a CHAMP application online, it's cumbersome in terms of the process, and then making sure that the consumer has all their information together. So you should really go for a training and understanding what you need to collect. So when the consumer comes in and you're doing this application with them, even if it's over the phone, you know that they have all that paperwork together before they come, because it takes some time to do. So this was an option that came out, it was sent to me last week, that there was it's gonna be a Zoom meeting. So what I was trying to do is create a community room somewhere at the library, I asked, so that we could actually then have either the public show, or people come there as well as the seniors, to apply for these CHAMP applications, or to apply online and how to do it. So even if we hung these up somewhere, they could actually, if they were tech savvy, they could just scan it and it would download any of that information as to how to go about it. So these are the kind of things we'd like to offer the consumer.
So when is that? Did you, because it might be
September
good to,
18th.
it might be good to reach out to the library and have it in their
I
community
did.
room. If
Yeah,
it's
because-
oh, you did?
I did, yeah, I met with Dylan.
Nice.
And we had a long chat about what we can offer together.
Good, good.
And some of the services that are overlapping. And I thought, maybe what we should do, like, I'll share a lot of this information like this over to the library. And that's why I thought maybe they should have a webinar or TV set up there for people just to come and watch. But I also want to set one up here at the Great Hall, just in case there was an just in
Yeah,
case other people
yeah.
wanted to do it. There's the other thing that's coming up too.
So did you schedule something like that at the library or no?
He was gonna, yes, so he's working with that piece of it.
Oh, good.
To ask the board, I think he has to ask first if we could use that space.
Probably not, but but he's like figuring things out.
Okay, so that, and then October 23rd, they're having housing search strategy, so how to go about, how to avoid rental scams, that type of thing. What kind of moving costs you can get reimbursed for under the RAF program. So these are the opportunities that NeighborWorks Housing Solutions, pulling that entity or that particular stakeholder out of the community and bringing it here is a good thing for us to have when people have those questions, We had a gentleman that's calling yesterday, he's called a couple times actually, but he called yesterday looking for a social worker in grief counseling and all that. And I'm telling him, like, I pulled that out of the, grants. We were awarded the grant about a year and a half ago, and yet we're still waiting for an intern. We did get the intern. I got the email saying that we were going to have an intern for once a week come to the center, but the intern chose to go a different way and not come to Halifax. So that was a disappointment. These are the kind of things, it's like you're in, you're out. I need consistency. I need to know it's coming in 2
So you
weeks,
were
1 week.
awarded that grant and you probably have to hire someone before you actually, but you weren't given the money yet.
We aren't the facilitators of the grant itself, but Old Colony Planning Council
Oh,
put that
okay.
out there as a, hey, listen, Duxbury's writing the grant as well as Plymouth, big organizations, big staffing, everything else. So they wrote their agents for the grant. So about a year and a half ago, I said, well, what about those small rural towns?
Right.
So then they said, well, we'll offer them as a pod. So if we wanted to meld with Plimpton or those that we could, it's called a pod. I said, yeah, we do. We'd like that. So they said, okay, you're accepted into the program and a part of this pod program. So we've been just waiting for us. Duxbury got their social worker, Brockton got their social worker, and I went to a McLean Hospital conference, and I met one of the social workers from Duxbury. And I'm like, hey, how come they got the social worker? We didn't. And I said, we want one of you. So what they have to have is a master's degree social worker to oversee the interns. And so the interns would be coming from Bridgewater State University. And I've actually approached their social working department to see if we could have someone there as an intern come, creating my own little thing without having to get into the grant part.
Right.
And so they said they would get back to me, but of course that didn't happen. I don't know, maybe there's not enough people going to social working and what, and all these towns are pulling them from all these different directions. But what's the most important thing about social working is being able to find the sources out there, the resources, but also do case management. So what I did on my weekends, I meet with people that I think could help us out. And one in particular, I met with this home care provider, and I've been reading up on his information as dementia care and all this other stuff. When I say he owns the organization, but it's consistent solution nursing. And that piece of it's really important in nursing because they understand a lot more than just someone just opening up a home care provider service. So I met with him over the weekend to understand what we could maybe connect with and the resources he has, because I read all his stuff, all his company's information, and it was phenomenal. It was very on target. It was an alternative for some of us, you know, here in the community that are smaller and don't have access to some of these services. So I'm constantly trying to navigate with some of these specialties, you know, these specialty outfits. And this one here in particular, I felt out of most of them offered that skilled needs piece of it.
So you're suggesting
Yeah,
that
so-
company, if somebody asks you for like,
Well, I'm not gonna dare market for them because I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
But what I am going to say is that I connected with Market Meteor, which he does a lot of the senior newsletter, the senior newspaper, South Shore Senior News. That gentleman there, and he says, I'll tell you what, do a podcasting through my company. And he said, and so what I could do is like a series of like podcasts, bring this in and talk about where to go, how to go, what to look for when you are working with somebody that has, or a loved one that has dementia. Ties into the piece of the Age Wave Social, that Age Wave Social Club that was established. It was like, I don't want to leave you guys dangling, but you know, with things I'm finding with government, take a long time to process because you have to go through a number of channels because we serve all people and not exclusive. We're companies, they make a decision, they run with it. So, but for us, it takes a little bit of explaining and going out there. So I want to create this other aspect for people that have participated in the program. What other options would be available to them, and give them, and in this podcasting of series, like I'm going to do like a 3-part series, talk about senior living, talk about the changes when sensory changes happen in your life, and what are some options to look for. This gentleman here in particular, as I said, is case management as well as a nurse. And to me, that is important when we come to home care support. So those are the kind of things to offset when we don't have access to certain things at the state and federal level. And because of, I don't know, whatever happens. So I just kind of said, I don't want to be left out. I don't think we should.
We shouldn't be.
Because we have the same needs as everybody else in every other town, so
Absolutely.
why are we being left out? So
Right.
it just kind of, I try to find other resources out there. Same thing with the resources for this other gentleman called yesterday too. He's like, well, I would like to have some more resources on senior living and things of that nature. So I said, well, we are going to have that Aging with Grace Fair. So I mentioned it at department head meeting, and we have a person that is now at the elementary, the new principal.
Yep.
Very, very, very kind. And so he told me exactly where how to access the gym. I can apply,
good.
so I can fill that application out and see
Okay,
what
good.
happens. Again, it's like having resources available to the public, off boards, any of the stuff that's coming at the senior center and what we can't handle. We're only 2 people in terms of what we can do. And if one person is out because of whatever reason, it's a lot to take on that responsibility, because then it takes you away from where you should be in grant writing and so on. So I've been trying to, it's a little bit cumbersome, and but it's workable, and I'm trying to make that happen for our community here. But I think if we can give people information, let them decide, what, you can have people from the state level, we can have people from the vendors like this gentleman here. Beneski, Supernet and Breneski is awesome in terms of the stuff that they write is amazing because they get into the home care aspect of it, plus estate planning. We never think of that.
Yeah, that's
too,
important.
going forward, because first and foremost, the cost of that. You're always like, oh my gosh, I have to spend all this money to start a trust and you don't have that funding to do it. What are the alternatives? You know, so those are the things that we want to educate our public at all levels, caregivers as well. And if we can have this resource fair, to me, it's doing a favor to the public, and it just helps our staff too, because we're getting bombarded with all these types of questions, you know? So,
No, that would be great, and we're just gonna like
yeah.
reach out and we'll continue to talk about
So-
what dates and things like
Yeah.
that on that.
Programs, so we actually, we have some spring programs coming up. We have,
No, but I mean, as far as the aging with Grace, we haven't picked a date or,
yeah,
but
so
we're just gonna keep talking about.
we're gonna get the we're gonna secure a spot first.
Okay,
And then I have all the vendors. They're just waiting to,
You're chomping at the bit. just
yeah,
waiting to
I'm
get
just
to it.
hoping that.
So is it going to be on a Saturday or during the week?
During the week,
Oh, good,
yeah. It'll be during the week.
yeah.
so it'll be during the week, then it'll have to be after school, like we talked
Maybe
about,
Friday,
or,
Or maybe a day when it's closed or something on a Friday.
like, so
Like a
if we're
teacher's
gonna have it
meeting or-
in April, it'll have to be like April vacation. So we should really look at that date and secure the gym
The
in
back-
case they have like a basketball camp going on or something like that during April vacation. Because if
Or-
we're gonna do it during the week, it'll have to be on April vacation.
Or the backup to that would be have it at the library, the conference room. And I've actually, if Norwell can do it, we can, because their facility's small. But they had it lined up with all the vendors. They might be a little tight, but you can do it.
So we had, we
could
had
do it.
something like that at the library, and we put the tables just kind of like all around the border of the room, and we left the, like, all the chairs come out, and the center of the room was just, you know, kind of the center of, you know, didn't have anything in it, so people just kind of flowed. There was not really,
Traffic
you know, there was
area.
no refreshments going on or,
Right.
you know, room for anything else. And you know, you might have to, so it would be like a big room like this, and then you had like maybe one vendor here. How many vendors are you thinking?
Okay, so depending on if it's gonna be that we can fill the gymnasium, then we'll get 20 of them, you know?
Right, right.
But if it's gonna be to a smaller, section, then we go with 12, and then have a second one. You know what I mean? So have different vendors the second time around. We can get around it just gotta secure the spot.
So why don't we work on securing the spots? Like, say, if we do, we'll have to be April vacation, and you think Friday is better than during the week, or?
Well, yeah, I mean, during the week would be good, but, I mean, some centers do is they have the option during the week, you know, like 10 to 2 or 10 to 3, whatever, and then they may have one in the evening, like 6 to 8, because of the fact of people work, you know, so it would be open up to just their caregivers too. It would be open up to a lot more.
Right, so are you thinking
offerings.
Monday or like a Friday would be better?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I have to find out what's out there, and maybe the library would have more flexibility in their conference area. So, you know, maybe we could go Monday through Friday because there's more flexibility. I have to see what's available. The sooner the better, but doesn't look like the fall's going to happen because it's around the corner now.
Right, no, I think we was talking April vacation.
Yeah, right now we're talking more in spring. Yeah, but, yeah, so that's what we're talking in spring now, so, to really plan. But, I mean, if I had to get everybody around tomorrow and, you know, sign up for a winter event, you know, we
No,
can
if
do
we're
that.
gonna do it on the spring, I'm saying we should probably reach out to the school now, so
Yeah, we will.
pick a date and reach out to the school and kind of secure that date,
We will.
and then we can move on from there.
Yeah, but, well, like I said, I just learned that at my department head meeting that there was a form, and I said, well, I had no idea there was a form, but now I know, and I'm gonna apply. So that's, so take care of that aspect of it. The other
Okay.
thing, so the nice thing too, came up yesterday, and, this particular person came to me and with a problem out in the community. And so I said, well, he said, I know if there's somebody gonna know the resource, you will know. So I was able to provide them with the resource, but last week, we met with, under our umbrella of all the coordinated care plans that we offer out there, the services, it was independent associates for people with disabilities at any age. The gentleman came in, and I introduced him to Barbara, our outreach, and, you know, I said, you know, not a lot of people understand what you do. Or, our police and our fire department, they're out there in the community every day doing case management, doing social working things, confronted with mental health issues, confronted with a lot of different issues, and yet they are expected to handle it in a special way. I said, what I need to understand or bring to the table is what you do as for people with disabilities and independent living versus Old Colony Elder Service, OCES, versus, you know, what we do as a COA. So I said, I'd like to have a panel discussion with all the CEOs up front so that people could ask these questions, you know, and understand what the COA does, what their capacity is, you know, so people wouldn't be upset that we're not able to complete a certain thing for them, or a social worker, or have somebody like that. Referrals are most important. And I said, his agency, which I've been very familiar with for years, has a lot of, you know, offerings. And I went to their fair that they had and set up a table for our center. And people were coming over to us and saying, wow, what does the COA do? So even their professional group of people, case managers and stuff, knowing what we do to support them.
Right.
And so it was a really meaningful relationship, and I got to talk with the CEO, Steve, there, and he's been phenomenal in that whole thing, and he's just so willing to come and talk to our group. So I said, well, what would bring out a lot of people? And I thought, triad. So as a conversation, I think what we can bring is a panel discussion of resources, what's available for police and fire department and the COA, and understanding what we all do. So now I know that Ken has kind of booked up a lot of stuff, and Christmas is going to be around the corner now. They don't have a meeting then. So now we're being pushed out to maybe in January, February for this to happen. But I thought that would be a great way for us to work with the fire department, and when they come to a situation, what pamphlets they should have on their being, like the captain would have with them, so that they can give it to the consumer. Hey, did you know that you can get a wheelchair through this organization? Did you know you could get support services through, or advocacy through this other organization? Leaving it up to the consumer to make the decision as to know whether or not they want to apply. But what happened is I call it the boomerang. When there's a lot of issues that are going on with the consumer, even as they age or with a disability, they contact the police and the fire department. Then we get the call of the COA. We offer the service, but the case management piece, they don't follow up with it because whatever, they change their mind or something happened, either in and out of hospital, things happen. So it never goes anywhere. It goes back to the police and the fire department. They're out there the week after.
Yeah.
So it takes up a lot of the taxpayers' money too, in terms of those types of things, and it's cyclical. So I'm trying to say, as a COA, I know what's out there. these entities all can come together and discuss it at one of these triad meetings. So that's another thing that we're gonna be planning.
So do you think the Veterans Agent should play a bigger part too?
Yes, I do.
Yeah,
Yep. So that was the
because
other.
people aren't aware of a lot of those benefits.
That's true. Veterans Agency, it would be nice to have even, estate planning. Those are the kind of things I'd like to see even
Yeah.
at our resource fair.
Yeah,
is to
state plan
have,
is super important.
the VSO come out and talk about the programs that are available, how to navigate. Boy, that's a lot to navigate.
Sure is.
I started to look at it and I'm like, what the heck? It's a whole new
So I
thing.
think we touched on.
But anyway, those are the things,
Yeah, on the agenda.
Oh,
Anything on the new way,
oh, yeah, so,
just really quick,
yeah,
on the
so,
new way,
yeah, so,
the
with
grant.
that, yeah, so the grant, so we were waiting for the building to be completed, which they just did that a couple weeks ago. This ramp, all that mess, west side.
Yeah.
So what we found is that, I'm waiting to hear from, maintenance. There is a lip when you go in the door, and people have a hard time with their walkers. So it's not compliant. So I don't know if that's gonna make an issue, but, actually I'm gonna be meeting with the two, part-time instructors on Thursday.
oh, good.
Yeah, but they're willing to come back to
Yeah.
work with the program. Though, I don't know if I don't know how to say this, but we had a plan, and the outreach was gonna be able to help with that, to oversee, so have one person that is actually employed, and then have two people that were part-time people. One, of course, would be grant funded through our state grant to support this particular program. However, with the changes a little bit, we had to rethink of how we're gonna do this, and that's what's taken a little bit longer. And funding too, it's a whole new position. I think once we get into a building, we'll see a lot of, because then we gotta hire more people. We would have to hire additional people, maybe one or two people.
What about going back to Bridgewater and doing it with them? That's off the table?
That would be up to that director
Okay.
to do it, yeah. That's why I started reaching out to options here as backup, because I feel it's not my philosophy. When I start something, I finish it,
Well,
and I
those,
carry people to the
yeah, but
next
those
level.
age wave funds, those are gone, right? So,
Age wave funds are gone, so what happened, ARPA funds was available out there at the OCPC level, AAA level. They said that we have some, the state level, Executive Office of Aging and Independence, so they put out this, hybrid programming. It turned into this dementia, early onset dementia program, because Bridgewater that's where they wanted to go. Where I'm thinking, hey, I'd rather be in a different way, where what we could do is more outreach, go to people's home in isolation with the technology. Not to say that they had sensory issues or, dementia piece is too complex. We have hybrid programming, which teaching computers, teaching how to access internet and all that stuff. A lot of the things that go into technology today is complex for older adults and myself as well, because we're all, have a little piece of something. Even kids today don't really understand. All they know is they punch the buttons and mommy pays for the bill, right? Because they say that I just heard that younger kids get scammed more than the older adults. So, and it was interesting, but anyway, so, so to try to, I lost my train of thought with all that stuff, but the short and long story is we are working to either create this program, continue it, we have the grant funding to do it, a lot of fun stuff we could do, but we don't have the yard to do it in.
so
that's never
when you
cleaned
talk
up.
about you have the grant funding,
So
where
I'm
is that
sorry,
coming from?
we bought materials to continue the program.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I have that, all that stuff in our basement, in our attic,
Okay, so we bought,
waiting for
right.
the frontage to be complete, so we can
Right.
get out there
And you bought
and
that
use
funding
that.
with that,
Like
with the
gardens.
old grant money, from the
From the
age,
grant,
from the
yeah.
original age wave
Yeah,
grant.
because I
Okay.
have a vision, and other people as well, and I listen to what people say, that they want to continue this program, which was awesome. But in order for us to do that, we have to step outside because we don't have that community space to offer this weekly. And so I said, well, what we can do is do some things outdoors, like gardening. I set up gardens and stuff where we can set those things up. I bought furniture that we could actually have people go outdoors, and then, the cycles, when you put it under your desk, so that they have that, they can go out and sit in the chair safely, and we can do outdoor spin class, or an outdoor
So you
cycle.
have,
Things
so you
they
have
do.
a bunch of materials
Yeah,
to
I have a ton
do
of materials.
different programming.
Yes, and then.
But you don't have the staffing.
We had an option, and it changed because of various
Yeah,
reasons.
right, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, no, I'm just trying to understand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't really delve into the
No, I
personal
understand.
aspects, yeah. But we had a mission, and we had it all figured out,
Yeah,
but we had to change the
yeah,
a little
yeah.
bit. But it's still in the making there to do it,
Okay,
and our building isn't.
okay. So the high needs request calling for additional staffing, that's on the agenda?
Yeah, we do need it. We
I
just.
think we've kind of talked
Yeah,
about
we did
that.
talk about it, so.
But I mean, for you to hire additional staff during this fiscal year, I mean, your budget hasn't been approved for that, right, additional staff?
No.
So
No,
you're
but-
not, do
but-
you have a position that's funded in your budget after town meeting, or no?
We do. Again, I can't really delve into, I can't discuss that openly right now because of the fact, we had a staff member that would be able to do it, but they
No, I'm
changed.
talking about your town
And then-
meeting budget that was approved. Did you have a position in that?
No, we utilized the same persons or the same, yeah. We utilized our staff to have a section of that
Right.
part, be a part
Right,
of that
right, I get it.
staffing.
Okay.
And then we have funding through
So
our
there's
state
not really
grant.
a new position in your budget?
No, because we have a state grant, not yet. So the state grant that we are offered, in that, it's unclassified position.
Right.
As outreach,
Right,
part-time
right,
outreach,
okay.
which we were going to bring that person in as part-time outreach.
Right, I get it, okay.
And pay that person with that. So, yeah.
Okay,
So, one more thing, update on the drug and alcohol policy, we're still waiting for that to be written. I have to wait now with the town position being
yep.
hired and all that stuff. It's still being worked on.
But
Like
wouldn't
I
you be
said,
following the DOT procedures?
Yep, we have
Yeah,
to.
right.
Yep, we have to follow exactly what, what was in the template. And so it's up to legal to just review
Mm-hmm. Okay.
what we, yeah.
so
that's
what we
we-
have, and I know we approved this Halifax Council of Aging Transportation Serve Policy, so there must be something in here about drug and alcohol in this. We've had this for a while.
Yeah, it is, no, because we never had to. The town does not have, they do have a bylaw that says about,
Right, but I'm
Yeah,
saying we
but-
approved this document
yep,
in 2023. So in this document, there must be something about drugs and alcohol
yes.
for the
there's
van
like-
drivers.
But it's minimal, it has to.
Right, so we have
has the
something
language-
approved and you want to add to that?
No, I can't add to that. I has to go by what GATRA requires their
Okay.
template or their verbiage in terms of the Mass DOT.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is
So
really
that's just our
kinda-
guide. That's our guide. Or-
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so, but we need to follow the federal standards for Mass DOT and the language that they use.
So,
So waiting for that. So
You're
just to-
waiting for a drug and alcohol policy from GATRA for the van drivers?
No.
No.
Okay, so the update on the drug and alcohol for van drivers, the template was presented to the previous town administrator to present it to legal, to have them go over the
Okay,
Mass DOT. So
where did that generate from?
the template came from GATRA,
Okay,
okay? So GATRA said, this is what it would look like, okay? This is not saying you need to, but put it into the,
Right.
yeah, so they provided a template. And then what we had to do is present it to,
right,
you
right.
know, I mean, we already don't have policy, so in other words, they gotta be tested, how often they gotta be tested.
Yep.
We don't require that everybody gets tested yearly, they do,
Okay.
okay,
All right,
stuff
I
like that.
understand.
So those are the kind of things we have to follow their federal guidelines. So, yeah, and we don't require that our employees get tested annually.
Okay. So that's kind of like a whole separate thing
Yeah, but if
from
they're
what
drinking
this
on,
is.
you know, they're
Yes,
drinking,
but
and
it
we
has-
find
yeah.
out that they are, it's in there. But it's not, we don't say, oh,
Right.
annually you need to be tested for
Right,
drug and
right.
alcohol.
Okay. And
Or
so-
even just to be
right.
tested,
And most COAs
For the
have that
capacity to
policy?
drive.
Most COAs have that policy, a
no,
drug and alcohol
anybody that with
policy?
the, following GATRA. It's a
They follow the
GATRA,
DOT requirements.
Okay,
the GATRA follows the DOT requirements, the federal government.
and so we are doing that as well?
I believe so. Right, we're gonna follow the same thing as GATRA.
We have GATRA, so
Yeah.
of course.
Right,
Yep.
okay. So I just didn't understand why it was on the, on the agenda here.
Because I just wanted
If
to let
we're
you know, we
following
still
it,
haven't gotten
okay.
it yet. I mean, we still haven't, it's not complete, and we talked about it before. That's why it was on there. I can take it off the next time around, and we don't have to talk
No,
about
I
it.
just wanna
anymore.
understand.
No, because
like-
we want an update on it anyway, so.
Yeah, it was just an update.
Yeah.
It's
Okay,
just
I
to
guess I'm just
say,
not understanding.
so
So-
it's just an
If we're
update that we
following the
talked about.
GATRA program now, because we have to, then what is the update that we have to have, that we're waiting from the selectmen? You said you submitted something.
It's a template,
Okay.
So we have a template that was submitted to be approved by legal. They have to go through it to see what the template itself and what our policies are, and kind of figure out how it should be written. It's not up to me to write this template. You see what I'm saying?
So we're waiting now from legal at this
Correct.
point.
Right, but Cody is
But
no
until we
longer
hear from
here.
legal, we're following the
So,
template.
right,
Is that
then what
correct?
I'm gonna do is, once this is complete, we will say, we will be following GATRA regulations.
Right.
And then have an appendix that would actually
Right.
can be
I think
embedded
that's where I'm
into
getting
that.
confused,
Yeah.
because we are following something now.
It's just our guidelines based on whatever our
Okay.
town was very lenient in a lot of these things.
Right,
So therefore, now we are GATRA, part of GATRA, so therefore we need to make sure that we're in compliant with their
right.
contract.
And we're not compliant right now.
Right, with their procedures and policies.
We need to make that, amend our policy,
Okay.
because they wanted to know what our policy is. If that policy is just say, hey, yeah, we just.
No, I get
you know,
that, but right
we
now,
don't test
we're not in
annually.
compliance with the drug and alcohol thing with GATRA. I think
According
that's
to-
what I'm trying to understand.
According to what their guidelines are.
Right, we're not in compliant with that right now. Okay.
So
I'm
that's
just
why.
trying to understand that.
Yeah, so if we go to approve it, it'll be, once this is approved at the level it should be.
Right.
Then we can add it to that.
Right,
To
yeah.
that transportation
Okay.
policy there.
But in the meantime, I think that's what I'm trying to understand.
In the meantime, we just continue to do what we have to do in that regard. I'm still waiting. I have no,
Okay.
I can't approach legal right now because it's
Right,
not,
right.
I'm not
No,
a town
no, I know,
administrator.
no, I'm just
Yeah.
wondering what then.
So, I mean,
Okay.
it's something that we need to, we're going to be working on, and it's been asked back in February, and we're still waiting.
Right.
Okay.
So, so it's gonna change over there. Honey's request college staffing. One more thing I was gonna mention. Age of Grace. Think, the only thing, no, I know the GATRA thing is a little bit confusing to some people with a lot of different parts to it, you know. But I think if we were to, and I think Cody did explain it pretty good when it was asked to him about it too, so it's still a little bit, maybe some information is not clear, but it's just has its own, it's from what I hear, it's a positive, so, but when we accept it, we have to follow what their guidelines are, you know, in terms of, you know, testing and even the ability to drive, a person's ability to drive, should they be tested annually? We don't do that, we do it every 5 years, right? For driver license, but, you know, stuff like that, so we need to kind of go with that thing. It's new to me too, you know, so.
The only other question that I had was on posting the minutes on the website. Do you want,
Yeah, what are we gonna do with that?
I mean, I can start posting the minutes. I don't know about, you know, and I'll talk to Caesar, I'll send Caesar an email about giving me, I think I still have my access to the website, but now that they've changed the website.
Well-
But if you want me to work on that, I have like past minutes.
Yeah, do
So
you?
I can do all of that, see how far back we can go. You know,
Yes.
time can, you know, how much time I have to post them, but going forward,
Yeah.
we should post them monthly on
I
the
asked, we
website.
should, yes, I know that. So the thing is I asked him about that months ago, and he said, yeah, we'll just send him all the older ones. So it's just time consuming to do it.
To do, right.
Yeah.
But
But if
I'm
you
worried
could get a
about going
volunteer, I would
forward.
love
Yeah, I'm worried about kind of going forward and like the few, you know, maybe if I post like, you know, from January on.
Right.
Like at least we'll have this.
Right.
At least we'll
You'd
have
the
like
calendar
this.
year in
So
there.
will you
Yeah,
volunteer to do
exactly.
it?
Yes, yeah. So I'm gonna talk to Caesar about that.
Thank you, yeah, I know,
Okay.
that's the thing, so, we had a volunteer that came in from another town, but I'm like, to explain that they have to go back to all those minutes, it'd be a little long. You know, I
Right,
just might as well do
yeah.
it myself at that point.
No, I have all
But
the
if you-
minutes, so I'll do that.
And I have some too, so maybe we can get together to do them together.
So I have, like, I'm thinking just like this calendar year, and then we can
Okay.
worry about, you know, I just kind of.
Previous, beyond
Yeah,
that.
previous years and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
because I go looking on other people's sites and I can see that they lag too, some of
Right,
them.
right, but that
So
would
it's a
be
good
like to
thing.
post, like all, like from years past would be
Right.
too much for me to do. So I'm just thinking, you know, this year going forward.
Yeah,
That would be good.
Yeah. Okay.
thank you for asking. Okay, quick question, quick view. So what I did, I'm putting together booklets for everyone here.
Oh, good.
Oh,
So,
nice.
okay, I'm gonna put together, I'm working on this piece, so that, and get dividers. So first and foremost, it's the Massachusetts Council on Aging Resource Guide.
Yep.
And you wanna look up stuff and look at it as a guide, you know, maybe like a little go-to spot. And then have dividers in between, minutes of the meeting, you know, agenda.
Yeah, perfect.
And then, you know, any other additional information you might think that
This
would
is
be
what I have, but
necessary.
that would
Yeah.
look much
It's
better.
okay, this is what I have, and it's definitely. So I have 3 of those.
Yeah.
But I was just thinking for you, for everybody to have, because I noticed that when we get to the meetings, I send out them electronically, but sometimes they're like, I know in our last meeting, I saw that, you know, the bylaws and stuff, and I'm like, oh, I keep sending them out electronically, but nobody has them. So, because they don't have them readily with them. But if they're in one book, in one spot, they pop it in
So you're gonna have
there.
the bylaws in here
So
too.
it will,
Good.
yeah, so I'm working, it takes time to put these together. So, but I said, what could I do to help support everybody? And if they have it in one binder, maybe clean it out over time, I don't know, put them in a file somewhere
Yeah.
else. But,
So what can we do to help you? Can we stop by and help you
yeah, if you
print
want
things? or-
to, yep, so what I want to do is put the dividers in there, I gotta order those, so I
Okay.
want to put the dividers in there and everything, and then, you know, and your opinion matters to me, so I would be loved ideas like, hey, this would be a better idea if we don't have dividers, or maybe we do want
No, I like
dividers.
dividers.
Yeah, and then that way there you could just go to the bylaws.
Right.
I think though, my thought is that agendas and minutes, like, as you can see, like how big
Pile up.
this is. Now, this is agendas and minutes and like
But
stats, and so I think all the different policies and the policy and procedures and all that other stuff is a perfect for that, because then we just grab that and everything's there. But as far as like agendas and minutes and stuff, maybe we can like keep track in our own way on stuff like that. But the important documents.
Well, even if you did it yearly and took them out.
Yeah,
Like keep
Yeah.
them yearly,
and you know
or
what?
even fiscal year.
And as the director and as chair, we keep those. You know, I just clean up my book, so I take
Yeah.
out like the last
Right.
5 years or whatever, 4 years, and I just take them, bundle them up, you know, by a year, and then put them in a file, and then I can
Okay.
reuse the book, you know, but it's
Okay.
totally up to you guys if you want to keep them for a year and then
Yeah.
just toss the rest, because we'll always have records of it.
Yeah.
And it's on the
Yeah.
computer.
Right,
It's in
Yeah,
the
that way
file.
we can look back either the fiscal year or the calendar year.
We'll always have it on our S drive
Yeah.
in our system.
I
So,
think calendar year, just because.
Okay.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that way
Yeah,
there you won't
that's
be walking
sufficient.
around
Yeah.
with these book stuff, but it's just easy to have it and for when you know, for the meeting and so on.
Yeah,
You can
okay,
just
that's
pop it in
great.
there. So that's why I wanted them there. But, I worked on this two-piece. You had asked that I work on this,
So this is in addition to
Position.
policy and procedures?
oh, yeah.
Yeah,
So
okay.
remember we were talking about the description for a COA board? And you had asked that I do that. I was looking back at our minutes. I mean, our Area 58, thank goodness for them. But it asked if I could get something and, you know, fix it, you know, to gear it towards what we do. You know, we don't have a treasurer, you know, and so on. So I sat and did this, which is the COA board. I gotta get you a copy. And it just says, you know, what is the COA onboarding? What's the process? Say somebody in the community wanted to come on board, what are they gonna do? What's the process to come on board? So just kind of snippet of what we do and what exactly the COA board would do in terms of adhering to responsibilities. So it would give somebody under the volunteer category a quick snippet of what
What's
the positions
expected.
are too. So it talks about what's the chair's duties. And if you see something in there that's missing, we can add it. But I thought we should review it, secretary and administrator. And all, what the public, the following laws apply to a COA and to you as a board member. Open law meeting law, you know, the open meeting law, public records law, conflict of interest, things that we need to do. So, and then what our outside sources would be. Also, I provided it electronically if you opened it up, because I sent it to everyone. You can actually click on the guide to that or the link. So I just said, serving on the board as a volunteer is an honor and a 2-year commitment with many benefits. Giving back to the community while creating a path of respect for all who age and over 60 plus and are individuals with disabilities. That's what we do. So, but we can do it the next time if you, but at least you have something.
Yeah,
Like
we'll
notes.
just, you want us to approve this?
No, I mean, not today, but read it, give you time to read it. I thought that by sending it out, that you
Yeah.
guys could read it
Okay.
there. I like to read on the computer. The
I'm
paper's
never
good too.
on my computer.
I like to read here, yeah.
I like
And
to
then
read
I just scratch it
paper.
out,
Yeah, I like to read
you
paper.
know.
I sit down at the computer and my whole day is gone.
I know, that's what happens, but I find it easier because you can do it neatly. Like
Okay,
my-
so
my
we'll put this
scratching,
on
scratching.
the agenda, and we'll talk about this,
All right,
and
so
then a
that's all.
possible vote.
And taking
Okay.
everything off. Oh. cool too, but that's all right, I'll wait. I'm gonna do the opioid compact grant.
Darlene, what do we want to call this document?
I'd say, the
It's just in addition
COA
to.
board meeting, advisory board meeting description. Onboarding.
Yeah,
How about
procedures
onboarding?
for, yeah.
Okay,
COA board member onboarding? I don't know.
yeah,
We could come up with some.
onboarding is good, yeah, okay. I just, when I
Your
put it
thoughts?
on the agenda, I'm gonna really try to work with, the problem with my computer, like I said, it's a Mac, so nothing, transfers over. And because I don't have, Word on it, so, with my Halifax email, it doesn't,
It can't
my computer
convert.
doesn't, no, I can't convert it without,
By-
on my Mac. So what I could do is my personal email is a Gmail. And so that has like the Google Docs and stuff that I'm still learning, but I know that, that probably wouldn't be, accepted. So I just have to figure out, I can on my, computer, I think, I don't know, I have to think about it and work with Caesar on that.
There
So-
is, there is a program that converts from Mac to Word doc. There is,
Right, but I don't
you
have-
to
I don't
but you
have Word, yeah.
That's fine. She'll come into the office.
I think that might be what I'm doing,
Yeah.
is coming into the office and
Make your
doing
life
it
so
there.
much easier.
Yeah,
And since you're gonna be volunteering.
yeah,
And
okay.
I don't wanna take, I don't
Right.
wanna
I'm down
overwhelm
on
you
it
either.
now. I don't know what happened.
Because you do enough as it is.
Okay,
Doing
so
what you-
I'll plan on coming in, I will call you and I'll come
In
in and we'll
advance.
work on the agenda. And,
Thank you.
yeah. Okay, awesome. I'm gonna adjourn the meeting at 11:18. And thank you. And good seeing
No, thank
everybody.
you. Thanks for all you do. And you too. Yep, I'm gonna, yeah.
Darlene, Darlene.